When you think of a racing game, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Most likely, it's going to involve driving an on-ground vehicle, whether it's a car, truck, motorcycle, ATV, you name it. Some may even think of the less common vehicle types seen in the genre, like anti-gravity ships and watercrafts. However, in all my years of playing racing games, I really never saw one that only featured airplanes. Games with aircrafts are usually all about aerial battles in large, open spaces like Ace Combat, Project Wingman, and Tom Clancy's Hawks. So you can imagine my surprise when I came across SkyDrift. Developed by Digital Reality, SkyDrift is a vehicular combat arcade racer that was released in 2011 for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. I will be reviewing the 2021 remaster called SkyDrift Infinity, which came out on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. It has improved graphics, all the content from the original game, and some new additions that I'll cover later on. With that out of the way, let's discuss what makes SkyDrift Infinity a great and unique experience. The presentation is surprisingly good. You are greeted by a neat main menu with the hero plane parked on a runway, along with the menu itself plastered on a large sign. The general UI outside of this isn't too exciting, but it gets the job done. In regards to the visuals, the game looks pretty good. It has a bright and saturated color palette. The planes and environments are decently high poly. Compared to the original, Infinity has much higher texture quality, more detailed effects, and improved lighting that looks amazing, even if the bloom is just a bit overdone. In short, the game has a nice presentation with a solid UI and great visuals. A key aspect of SkyDrift Infinity is that all of its vehicles are airplanes. There are a total of 16 fictional planes, 5 of which are exclusive to the Infinity version. They range from older propeller planes to more modern sleek jets. I really like these designs as they have a certain exaggerated stylization that catches the eye. In terms of the controls, they are responsive and consistent. Planes feel relatively different from each other, as faster, lighter armored ones are more agile than the slower, heavier armored ones. When going through tight spaces or needing to take sharp corners, you can tilt the plane into a knife edge position using the right joystick. One new addition in Infinity is a brake to drift feature that helps to get around turns and builds up boosts. You can invert the pitch controls, and Infinity also adds a new option to switch from arcade to simulator. This locks the camera and allows you to fully roll the plane using the right joystick. Overall, there's a good selection of planes that feel great to pilot. While SkyDrift Infinity only has 7 tracks, they are all really good. The courses are Avalanche, Dawn, Heatwave, Lagoon, Petrol Coast, The Dam, and Rex. All of them except for Dawn have forward and reverse variants. Dawn is the odd one out as it was added in Infinity and is only accessible in one campaign event. Regardless, all of these tracks are visually stunning with great detail, a lot of verticality, many obstacles to avoid, and a nice sense of scale. You fly through waterfalls, docks, canyons, coastlines, tunnels, and more. Also, there are some environmental events, like big explosions and collapsing structures. To make sure you can't fly out of the designated course, there are invisible barriers that force your plane back on track. You are also encouraged to take risks as some of the power-ups and speed rings are placed in tricky, dangerous spots. Despite there being a small selection of tracks, they compensate for it with stunning, varied courses that are a ton of fun to race on. The audio is almost great. Planes, boosts, power-ups, explosions, and more are loud, aggressive, and over the top. Weapon and boost sounds can even differ between the planes. Every environment has audible ambient sounds with a commentator that talks from a blimp in the events. The music is also quite good as well. All of this can really make for a cinematic soundscape. However, the audio falters when it comes to the general mixing. So many sounds can overlap to a point where it becomes indiscernible noise at times. Here's some examples of the audio. Now, I've talked a lot about the non-gameplay aspects of SkyDrift Infinity, so how is the overall gameplay then? Well, this is where the game truly shines. There are 5 game modes, being Power Race, Speed Race, Survivor, Arena Deathmatch, and Team Deathmatch. Power Races are the standard multi-lap race mode that has offensive and defensive power-ups. Speed Races ditches the power-ups, but instead there are rings that substantially increase your speed when flying through them. Survivor is essentially a power race, but the last place person gets eliminated every 30 seconds. Finally, the 2 deathmatch modes take place in open arenas where the objective is to kill your opponents using the power-ups. Although these deathmatch modes are only playable in split screen and online multiplayer. For the power-ups, there are 6 of them, which are machine guns, missiles, mines, shockwaves, shields, and repairs. You can hold 2 different power-ups at a time and switch between them. If you pick up the same power-up you already have, you get an upgraded version of it. In terms of the health system, the threshold to destroy planes is low, despite some having more armor than others. So the main combat loop revolves around quickly taking out opponents, and then they respawn back in to continue on. This also applies when you or your opponents end up crashing out. Your planes also have boost, which is another important element. There are many ways to get boost, like doing risky maneuvers, destroying opponents, discarding your power-ups, and using the new drifting feature. From the combat, health system, and boost, there's a lot of depth here. Plus, the AI can be pretty tough on the hard difficulty, which adds to the challenge. You can focus on getting boost, but that could leave you vulnerable to attacks. You could focus on taking out opponents, but you may fall behind. So it becomes a balancing act of combat and speed. Really, the only notable complaint I have is that there's no physical collisions between the planes. I'm still conflicted, as I imagine they did this for a reason, but it's just weird being able to phase through your opponents. Overall, the gameplay is so much fun due to the game modes, mechanical depth, and the overall challenge it offers. SkyDrift Infinity is unlike any racing game I've ever played. It takes the weaponized combat that I love and fundamentally changes the experience with something we rarely see in the genre: airplanes. From its presentation, vehicles, tracks, audio, and gameplay, there's a lot of redeeming aspects here despite not being a high-budget AAA production. Even if you get the original release, this is a unique experience that I can definitely recommend. This has been Gamer Alex. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day.